So, every one of us has probably heard of an introduction speech before, right? So it's basically going to be a short and brief ceremonial speech that will establish what everyone in the audience is actually there for the speech. It's supposed to create a supportive and positive atmosphere within the audience before the main speaker approaches the podium. The idea of the person doing the introduction speech is that they are going to highlight what the main speaker is going to talk about and how the main speaker has credibility, and to familiarize the audience with some background information about what the main speaker is going to talk about. Typically, the ideal speech introduction length should be no more than 3 to 5 minutes long. Many people find speeches really boring if they have no idea what the speech is actually about, which brings me to the point of why we have so many introduction speeches in the first place. Many times they expect the speech to be boring, so they have people do introduction speeches to loosen up the atmosphere. It will set the mood of the audience and the main speaker themselves. The audience should have an idea of what the speaker will be talking about and why he or she is worth listening to. So without further ado, I'll introduce my topic about introduction speeches. Speech of introduction is made to let the audience know that the main speaker has credibility about the topic and they know what they're talking about. The audience will be informed of the education, background, and experiences the main speaker has. The introduction speaker may also speak about why the speaker is worth listening to in the first place. That speaker should have good ethos, pathos, and logos, what I talked about in my first speech. Many times the audience will be given the main speaker's resume or a summary of his biography that is related to the topic. But there will also be times where the audience is not given anything and they will just have to listen to the actual speech itself and catch some background information within that speech, or they might have to do their own outside research ahead of time or afterwards. Usually these speeches are given verbally alone, or they can be verbally given with a PowerPoint slideshow or just any visual aid at all. The opener should be the icebreaker and the attention grabber of the night. Next will be the explanation of who the speaker is and what their background and achievements are. The beginning of the introduction speech should thoroughly but quickly introduce what the topic of the night will be about. It gives the audience an idea of what they should be looking for, what to listen to, and what to pay attention to. So they're not confused throughout the speech, or they can have an idea of what they actually want to learn from the speech itself. The middle of the speech should be focused on a few things about the person who is being introduced. It's important for the audience to know because it will build the main speaker's credibility at this point. You don't want to leave the audience hanging by having questions float around their head. Towards the end of the speech, it should be mentioning the main speaker's name at least a few times. They mentioned them before, and the title of the speech of the night. For example, if the speaker is well known, they may say something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2012 and its graduation." If the speaker is not well known, they will say their name a few times, probably 5 or 6 times throughout the speech, since it's not going to be long at all throughout the introduction speech. This is going to be an example of overpraising the person. A better speech, according to Rudolph and Kathleen Verdeber and Deanne Selnow. Today it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Miss Susan Wong, the new president of the Finance Club. I've worked with Susan for 3 years and have found her to have a gift for organization and great insight into the financial markets, and an interest in aligning student organizations with leaders in our community. Susan is not well known, but spent the 2 summers as an intern in New York. Let's give a warm welcome to Susan Wong. Like I said, it should not be long, but it should be giving the audience a warm-up of what they should be expecting. To conclude, the idea of the person doing the introduction speech is that they should highlight the main speaker's credibility and be able to give the audience background information about the speaker themselves related to the speech. People will find speeches boring because some of their introductions may have set too high of a standard and expectations And when the speaker came on board, they did not provide enough information to meet those standards. Having introduction speeches set the mood of the audience and for the main speaker to take the stage. Hopefully all of you have learned something from Chiney's speech today. Thank you.